Hey everybody, Planted Aquarium MN bringing you a quick video update on the progress of the 75 and the 120 extra high project I got coming up here real soon. But I got to show you guys something here real quick. Hold on. Alright, if you guys in the south don't know what all that white crap is, that's snow. We just got blasted with yet another winter storm last night, and you can see I still have ice on my pond back here. A little bit of open water over there, but we just got blasted with another 6 inches of snow. And I tell you what, I'm about ready to change my YouTube handle to Planted Aquarium TX for Texas or AZ for Arizona, because this is one long, godforsaken, horrible winter up here, and it's getting old real quick. Anyways, back to the aquariums. Alright guys, enough of the weather update. I just had to show everybody what's going on outside here in Minnesota. It kind of sucks, I know, boo-hoo, we live in Minnesota. If you don't like it, move. Anyways, not a lot happening with the 75. It's looking gorgeous as always. Just have a major trim coming up this weekend. Anyways, with this 120, I was going to roll with an FX5 filtration on it, and I just want to tell you and show you guys what I picked up and how I'm going to be filtering this aquarium. But I was going to roll with an FX5 when I bought this tank week ago Saturday. I had already had an FX5 by that night sitting in my Amazon.com shopping cart. I was ready to buy it, and I decided I'm going to go back Sunday and dig around through what they had left, look for a filter, things like that. In my excitement, when I bought this tank on Saturday, a week ago Saturday, when I got this tank, you know, there's the 120 extra high sitting over there, and the stand, it's going to be over on this wall here when it's set up. But when I got this tank and stand, I was so excited that I got this thing for the price of a Happy Meal that I forgot to really look through all the other stuff they had there. And I know they had a bunch of new pumps and canister filters and lighting and all kinds of stuff. But I went back Sunday, a week ago Sunday, I went back and made a fantastic deal on a new filtration package. I was able to pick up a brand new in the box eShop's PF1000 overflow box capable of 900 to 1,000 gallons per hour. I picked up a wet dry system. Now the wet dry was used, but I cleaned this thing up, and this thing is sparkling clean. I picked that up. I got a couple brand new eShop hoses that these get connected to the overflow box through 1-inch PVC. This is a dual overflow box, so there'll be one hose here, there'll be another here. Those flow down the hoses. I've got 2 intakes on the wet dry, and they'll drain into the top of the wet dry. Picked that up. Got 2 pumps. Picked up a Quiet 1 5000, a Quiet 1 4000 high head. An extra sump here. This was a used acrylic sump. Bunch of filter floss, Discus food, Discus buffer, neutral regulator, 10 feet of clear 1-inch diameter hosing, a bunch of sheets of a 1/4-inch acrylic, probably enough to make another wet dry system if I want to glue a new wet dry system together with acrylic weld on. Got all this stuff for an amazing deal, for less than half the cost of what an FX5 was, significantly less than what even half the price of an FX5 would be. So I got 2 pumps. Now they're used, but I checked them both out. They had a big sink full of water at the store. Picked those up, tested them. They work great. The overflow box was brand new. The wet dry was used, but it cleaned up like brand new. Loaded with about 4 gallons of bio balls, which I'm going to be pulling out and putting in Marine Pure. I'm going to be putting 2 gallons of Marine Pure. If you guys don't know what Marine Pure is, it's a newer product. It's a really high density, high porous product that is going to be a good replacement for these bio balls here. They make them in these 1.5-inch biospheres. They also make 8x8 by 1-inch plates, a couple other different forms and sizes as well. But it's just a real high surface area type media. It's expensive, but it does a great job from what all the tests and all the reviews show. 1.5-inch biosphere or ball here has the same surface area as 1,350 of these plastic bio balls. Now that's according to the manufacturer. Whether or not that's true or not, who knows, but I'm picking up 2 gallons of this stuff. Now, the manufacturer says that 2 quarts of this product are sufficient to maintain like a 250-gallon aquarium. Heavily loaded 250-gallon aquarium. And I'm picking up 2 gallons of it, so I'm going to have 8 quarts in my bio tower there. So that's going to be more than enough filter media and surface area for my biological filtration. But how I'm going to be running this wet dry is I'm going to have, it's going to come through the overflow box, it's going to come down the hoses, it's going to get drained into the top of the wet dry. It goes through a drip, little sponge here, kind of a pre-filter more than anything, and then onto the drip tray. From the drip tray, it goes down into the bio tower where I'm going to first have 2 gallons of marine pure. Then I'm going to still have some plastic bio balls in here. This lower section here, that stays submerged all the time, and I'm actually loading that up with some fluval biomax that I have coming. And then the water comes down here, drains or gets filtered up through these 20 PPI sponges. Overflows this baffle. It's going to come down onto this filter floss and then a 20 PPI sponge, 30 PPI sponge. And then into this sump holding area here. This is going to be held down by C-Chem Matrix, not for filtration purposes really, but just more or less to hold that filter floss down. And then over here I'm going to have 2 heaters inside the sump area here. I picked up this additional acrylic sump, and it's not hooked up to the wet dry sump. And the reason I picked up this here is just for extra volume and holding capacity. It's going to allow me to put additional water in the system and just gives me more flexibility. I'm going to take these 2 sumps, and these are going to be connected with 2 2-inch bulkheads. So I'll have a 2-inch bulkhead connection here and a 2-inch bulkhead connection here to allow water to flow from the wet dry system into this additional sump. My Discus tank is going to be a low-tech planted tank with slow-growing plants like crypts, swords, anubias, and things like that. So they're not going to be a fast-growing nutrient sponge like a hygrophila or a hornwort. So what I'm planning on doing is just to make this a little refugium down here, and I'm going to put in some faster-growing plants to make sure they suck up the extra nutrients so I don't have algae issues. I'm not sure if that's needed or if that's been tested, but that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. So anyways, water will come from that sump. It'll come into this area here where I'll have some faster growing plants. I'll put a little light inside the cabinet here. The light will be running opposite the lights on my aquarium. And then I'm going to put another baffle and a screen in here to keep the plant particles and pieces in this area. So then the final chamber will just be clear, clean, filtered water that's gone through the plant. It's gone through filter floss. It's gone through the biological. I'll be sticking some bags of like an ammonia remover and phosphate remover down in this area here. So I'll have biological, chemical, and mechanical filtration on here, and also natural filtration with the live plants here. Comes into this last section, comes into this section here where I'm going to have the Quiet One 4000. This is capable of 980 gallons an hour or something like that. At a 4-foot head, it's going to be down at about 825. My overflow box only handles about 900 to 1,000 gallons an hour, something like that. I'm going to go with 900 for now. So even wide open, this overflow is going to be more than capable of handling this pump wide open. The Quiet One 5000 that I picked up does about 1,250 to 1,300 gallons an hour. I'd have to dial that down with the ball valve quite a bit to make sure I don't pump more water than the overflow is capable of. But this is what I'm rolling with. I'm going with this wet dry system. I got it for really, really, really cheap. I can't even begin to tell you how cheap I got this thing for. Like I said, I got all this stuff for less than half of what a Fluval FX5 would be. But what I like about it, extra oxygen is going to be added to the water. Discus like that warmer water. The warmer the water, the lower amount of dissolved oxygen is in the water. Wet dries do a fantastic job adding the oxygen and with the gas exchange. So this is going to keep the water as highly oxygenated as possible. I get to keep all my equipment out of the tank. The only thing that's going to be hanging in my tank is this black portion of the overflow box. My heaters are going to be down inside the sump. So it's going to be a nice clean look. Really excited about it. The wet dries are also easy for maintenance. You take off the pre-filter sponge, clean them off once in a while. You take out the sponge that's in the drip tray. You take out the sponges and the filter floss and exchange it out, or clean it out every once in a while. Easy to get to. You don't even turn the filter off during that time. Filter continues to run. You're not taking it off like a big canister, like I do on my 75. But that's what I'm doing with filtration on the Discus tank. I mentioned I'm putting a couple heaters down in there. Not a lot of room down in that sump for a couple of heaters, unless you go with, bam, the new Cobalt Aquatics 200 watt Neo-Therm heaters. Had these delivered to my house yesterday. Cobalt Aquatics, for those who aren't familiar, Google it, check it out. I'm not going to go through it in detail, but they make a really nice low profile heater, the Neo-Therm heaters. They had these things up to a 100 watt heater. That was the largest they had, but they just came out with, in the last couple weeks, they just released the 150 watt model and the 200 watt model, and I was quick to order 2 of the 200 watt models. They're only 10 inches, 10 3/4 inches or something like that in length. I've already tested them in the sump. They fit perfectly down in here. But these are fantastic. They're not made of glass. They're not ugly. I wouldn't actually mind seeing these in my tank, but they're still going in my sump. But check them out. They look like great heaters. They're not breakable like the glass heaters. They're not 3 feet long like an Eheim 300 watt heater. They're just nice looking heaters, and they fit in the sump. So Cobalt Aquatic Neo-Therm heaters, 2 of the new 200 watt heaters. They're gonna work out great. So anyways, that's the update on the project, the 120 project. Still what I have remaining on this. I'm going to reinforce this manufactured stand here. This was a Marineland Majesty stand designed for that 120. But man, they just don't put a lot of support in these things, and it just scares the crap out of me. So I'm going to actually be doing some reinforcing of this with some 2x4s, and trying to just make sure that this thing can hold about 3 tanks instead of just the 1. That's just me. I like to reinforce my stands. And then I'm going to try and get this thing slapped together, and then I need to focus on lighting. I'm not sure how I'm going to light this tank yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to do suspended T5 lighting, if I'm going to do LED lighting. I'm not sure if I'm going to put a glass canopy, open top, or build a wood canopy for this aquarium yet. But that's the update. That's the filtration that I'm going to be running on this tank for now. I'm going to be going with this wet dry and sump here, and then it's on to the lighting. So anyways, that's just the update on the 120 Extra High project. Appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and we'll catch you guys later.